Hi, my name is Justin Yomuk. I'm here with
Tommy
Tommy
Terrio.
Terrio. Um,
Uh,
Today we're interviewing Capodieci. Thank you for coming on. It really means a lot to us.
Thank you guys for having me today.
So we have a few questions, so let's get right on into it.
Sounds
First
good.
question we have is, who was your most memorable teammate?
I have to say, growing up a Jose Canseco fan, my first pro season, I had a chance to be with Ozzie Canseco. So it wasn't actually Jose, but, we all know it's his twin brother. So being on the field every day with him was, pretty surreal. I never got used to it. It was just an awesome experience. And plus he was awesome to be around. He was a great guy. He was helpful. But size wise, he was real close to Jose, and a lot of profiles and, sitting next to him and stretch. And I was two lockers down from him. It was just, like I said, it was a surreal experience to be, around a Canseco, no less a twin brother.
I can't imagine that experience having a guy related to Jose two lockers down.
Yeah, I mean, and Bobby Bonds, Barry's brother, was next to me, so it was definitely a pretty cool setup where I ended up getting a locker. So
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And then I had a question for you. So each game, what was your preparation like?
Each season I learned more. So each season I created a different type of schedule. I was never one for really getting after it, at nighttime, because for me it was an opportunity that I didn't want to lose. So I didn't want to have any reasons why I couldn't perform the next day. And not being an everyday player, I kind of just kept my schedule pretty strict. So I was usually at the ballpark anywhere from 12:30 to 1. I would get early hitting in, because again, not being an everyday player and never playing affiliated ball. I was always up against guys at that level. So we just really did a lot of work on our own, and then preparation as a catcher. It was really catching a lot of bullpens. Pitchers would come in anywhere from 2 to 2:30. The starters would have their routine bullpens they had to throw. Relievers would throw if they didn't throw the night before, the day before. So there was a lot of bullpen work. I think now, if I was in any sort of organization, seeing all the social media hype, and I think I would do a lot more catching work. I would spend more time doing more drills. I think I just worked in the bullpen, so I figured that was enough for me. But again, like I said, my schedule was usually at the gym by 10 or 11, and at the park by 12:30, 1 o'clock the latest, and just really started from there.
Yeah, the best ability is availability.
Yes, exactly.
So the third question we have is, what is your favorite thing about baseball?
I think ever since I started, it was just always the growth of the game, for myself, my teammates, coaching, always wanting more. And I know I prided my career in the fact that I wasn't, an All-American. I wasn't, an All-State player. I really grinded. I worked. I was always the better player until around, high school. And then people caught up to me, and then people were getting better. And for me, it was just a push, a constant push. I don't think, I would have changed anything, not getting drafted, just you wanted, an independent ball becoming popular at that point. There were only 4 leagues to play in when I started in 2000. So it was an opportunity that I felt was still there. So it was just, again, it was the growth of the game. It was just constantly growing and learning and just being a part of it, and just, never being upset about anything negative and just growing from it.
Yeah, that has to be so interesting, because you get all the press about the big guys that are drafted high and everything, but to really come from that bottom and still be working and grinding.
Yeah, I mean, like it was an amazing experience. Like I said, it was, it wasn't for a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of guys didn't enjoy it. Because once you get in, independent bowl is very individual. Like you created your own schedule. When you're an affiliated bowl, the schedule is created for you. So this was a lot of self discipline. And it was hard for guys that were part of organizations, and they came in and they just felt free, and athletically they were able to. But for me, like I said, not having it every day for me was an opportunity, and I didn't want to lose it. So I wanted to work harder than anybody else.
Makes
So
sense.
I actually, I used to live by a former professional baseball player as well. played wiffle ball with him like once or twice, and a question I asked was who was his like favorite player that he played with, and he would always say the players who work so hard but don't always make it, and that he always respected how hard that they worked.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's an opportunity, and it's a gift, and for me, again, everything was for me personally. It was just something that I didn't take for granted, and it wasn't something that I wanted to put myself in jeopardy. Because again, I mean, if you go back to my high school and college, like, there were players that were better than me. There were coaches that didn't think that, I could have went any further than I did. And for me, it was a personal, like, no, like I wasn't going to let that discourage me, like, so I kept grinding. I didn't start till my senior year in college. I was a backup even in college. So I didn't start till my senior year. And I was one of three guys for the next 4 or 5 years that even played pro ball. So it was, like I didn't do it for anybody. I did it for me, and I did it with the support of my family. So it was an opportunity that I would never say I wasted time with.
Yeah. And then the next question is what professional catcher would you say that your style is most comparable to?
I mean, at the time, I mean, in the '90s, I was a big Ivan Rodriguez fan. I kind of emulated a lot of my game, as much as the moves as I could have, followed from him and did, and started to realize, like, as an athlete, you have to create your own style. I mean, I'm not Pudge Rodriguez, like, I mean, people could say, like, hey, you could throw like him, at the time, but, like, at the end of the day, like, you mature and realize that, but for me, like, being only 5'10", so that's what I was short, I was stocky, I could throw the ball. So that's, I used to kind of, I liked his flair. I liked his flair in the game. I liked the way he controlled the staff. I liked the way he called the game. I liked his setups, so I really try to emulate my game after him, but also watching Benito Santiago and Tony Pena, a lot of those catchers too. They were different styles. But I would say Pudge, he was the guy that I really try to emulate. Now, I mean, I really can't say because the style of catching is so different. It's fun to watch now because it's really like a technique that people talk and train about now. So it's a lot different now.
Mm-hmm. So you were talking about Pudge Rodriguez. I actually have a relic card of him.
That's awesome.
Right here. Mm-hmm. I really liked watching him play. I had a different one a few years back, but I ended up trading it a while ago. But
yeah,
recently
when I started going through my collection again after I moved, I started seeing I had a bunch of his cards and started pulling them and stuff. So, I have a hand. I met him a few times already to get his autograph and have a bunch of his bats. I'm a bat collector too, so he definitely was one of the guys that I wanted to make sure I had all of his bats.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. I've always wanted to get a bat. The closest I've ever gotten was getting players batting gloves at an Aqua Sox game.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So the next question is: when you played, you were a catcher, and now you, like you said, you collect catcher cards and bats. Who are some of your favorite catchers, currently and of all time?
I mean, I guess obviously all time would be Pudge. I mean, of the new school guys, new school even on their way out, Salvador Perez. I mean, I know he has years left, but I mean, of the newer guys, Salvador. I love Yachty again. I like style. I like flair. I don't like the showboating of the game. That's that's going on lately, but I do like. I like the energy, and I feel like a lot of the Latin catchers carry a different energy back there, and I really enjoy. Contreras. I do like all the catchers of now. I mean, the guys that I'm PCing right now that I started during quarantine, they're not even the big leagues yet. So I really can't say, and I don't get a chance to watch their games like Miguel Amaya, Ruiz, Rutzman, which I'm excited for his career. I'm glad I jumped on his PC. That just was a random situation. I saw he was a good catcher, saw some cards on eBay, and I picked them up and I just kind of ran with it.
Mm-hmm. I'm super excited to see Rutschman debut, and I like Miguel Amaya too. I'm a Cubs fan, so you also mentioned Contreras. He's one of my favorite players on the Cubs currently.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way he catches. I love his energy. I mean, again, for me, it's energy. I like that energy behind the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So going more into your collecting. So I have to imagine your career played some part in this, but when did you truly start officially collecting? Because pretty much every kid gets some, cards and packs when they're growing up, but officially collecting, when did you start?
I mean, my start was obviously when I was in middle school, elementary, around that time. I lived probably about 2 miles from a baseball card store. So my mom, because my dad worked a lot, so mom and I would go there once a week, and it was either allowance money or really no more than $20 walking into the store with. So packs then were like anywhere from $1 to the expensive packs were like 250. So you really had to monitor how you were spending your money. You can go in and buy a big card, but um, so again, I was in the early '90s when I was collecting. I stopped probably around high school, and I only picked it up recently. Like then going into my third year now. I mean, my daughter will be 4 in November, and I started probably that first summer that after she was born. So I started in 2018. Going to Target, and when you could actually buy retail, it was like you can go there and actually see blasters and pick which ones you wanted. And there were times the register would have a couple packs of diapers and a couple blasters and stuff. Because what I did, I started buying because I started TTMs again. Because I did that as well as a kid, and I saw these cards. They look cool, like the chrome. I mean, cards from when I collected till now is like unbelievable. So that's when I started collecting and started buying, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So I would say 218 is when I started, but I mean, when I was a kid, I collected a lot.
Hmm.
So there was a good
That's
30-year window.
mhm. That's really cool. I collected like vase as a kid, never got really into collecting. But then in 2018 for me as well is when I like really got into it and sent out a few TTMs and collected like autos and relics, number
Yeah.
cards and like Bowmans.
I mean, it's a blast. Like I said, this hobby takes you into so many different avenues. That's why I am all over the place. I'm trying to narrow myself and bring myself into an area that I could just lock in on. It's been fun, but it's a lot of money being out there.
Yeah, it's one of the most
Mhm.
expensive hobbies that's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your favorite or best card in your collection?
It's tough to say because if I'm gonna go back from the beginning of time, all right. I mean, I pulled it because I the question was gonna come up. It was definitely this one, my '86 Conseco. You can see it.
Oh, that's
All
cool.
right. So now this is a short little story. I know I posted it a few times. So this card I won. There was this card store that I used to go to. They had moved shops, so they were running a raffle. We got there early. We got one ticket, and they weren't going to run the raffle for another couple hours. So it was a good part of the day. So we ended up running out to get lunch. My mom and a friend of mine. When we got back, they said they already ran the raffle. And they said, but they were going to call the numbers one more time. So we were like, oh, we just came back. Like, what were the numbers? So he called the numbers, and I looked at my ticket, and I had it. So, and at the time when I won this card, this is the rookie that would be like, getting an Acuna rookie right now. It was like the card to have. So that was like a big deal, like 11 or 12 years old, winning like $100 card. So I obviously had to PC him at that time. Then we stay collected. So from that point on, I bought all the Canseco cards that I could possibly have, and followed his career. Was a big Oakland A's fan. Anytime they would come out to New York to play the Yankees, I'd get to the games. So that was the start of my Canseco, collection. So that I would say that would be like my favorite card because that really was like a big card for me as a kid growing up. Now it's tough. I mean, I could talk about the pink Acuna. I could talk about the pink, Otani. Like those cards I pulled out of packs and I got them slabbed, and they ended up coming back 10. So like those are great cards. And then my vintage cards, my 51 Bowman, Yogi Berra. Like I'm doing all those vintage catchers now. So I have a lot of new stuff that I really like, but I think going back to my favorite card would definitely be this Canseco because again, it kind of brings you back to like that childhood time. And I actually got it autographed 2 years ago.
It's cool to have that connection to it.
Yeah, definitely. I it was in the screw down case for probably close to 30 years. I opened it up, I sent it to a buddy of mine who knows Canseco. He signed it, and then I ended up sending it to Beckett and just got it slabbed up. So it's been through a lot of phases of life in my collection.
That's super
That's really
cool.
cool. And then my next question is you're we from the accent and from talking about them visiting New York, you obviously live there, What's your what teams do you support? Are you Mets, Yankees? Are you somewhere out abroad?
I mean, I'm a baseball fan now, and I really watch anything. You know, I got to a Met game about a month ago. It's probably not good to say, but it's just not easy getting into New York. It's not easy getting into Yankee Stadium, so it's always easier to get into Citi Field. I know somebody who works with the Yankees. I've gotten a few times with him, which was fun. But right now, I just love the game of baseball. You know, MLB Network is on, all the time if my daughter's not watching TV. So whatever game is on, I'm watching. Because for me now, as a coach, as a mentor, as a trainer, it's all about learning and just getting better for all my athletes that I train. Watch the game, watch the new theories, watch the new skills, watch all that new stuff. So I'm able to apply that to my lesson and apply that to my conversation. So I don't have a team anymore. I just love the game.
That's really cool. Uh, so my next question is, as a card collector yourself, what does it mean to you that you have your own baseball card that was printed?
It was a pretty big deal. It was awesome. I mean, I pulled that one too. I had a bunch of them because on the 2001 team that I played on, that was the only team that I was on from start to finish, meaning from spring training until the end of the season. My first season, I started with them probably a month and a half into the season and finished with them. And then after that 2001 season, I became a journeyman, meaning I would go to, I'd sign with a team and get released or get traded. So that 2001 season was special. For a lot of reasons. And when we had our pictures taken, I found out years later that my card was picked because it was one of the cooler looking in action photos. And if that whole team card pack, a lot of them were just poses, like someone standing up or just a face shot. But mine was actually like me catching. And so that's what kind of gave me the bug to collect catchers and gear signed cards. And I was like, let me go with that. And they would give us, and they all gave us a pack of our own card, about 50 cards. So over the years, between giving out to family and friends and teachers and kids that I work with and people, I ended up keeping like 3 or 4 cards. And then when I started slabbing cards, I'm like, I'm going to slab one of my cards. And I sent one of my last ones in for my daughter, and I only got a 6 on it, but it's pretty cool to have. You guys can see it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, like it was always awesome to have my own car, but now to actually have it in the slab. And like I said, it's for my daughter someday so she could see what dad did. But yeah, like I said, it's like a pinnacle of one, a part of my life, in my career as an athlete. It's definitely awesome to have. And I actually have I have 2 other cards from 2 other seasons. I was lucky when they did pictures I was there for that they actually got like I sent them into the PSA, but they got denied because I think it's a small company, so they weren't able to kind of like proof it anywhere. So they sent them back denied.
Yeah.
But at least I got one, which was the
Yeah.
important one.
Super cool that you were able to actually get it slabbed.
Yeah, definitely. It was a lot of fun coming back.
So I had a question written down, but it's already been answered. Talking about the TTM, it was the question was, what was your best TTM auto? And I think it's pretty obvious to say that that's the Conseco.
Yeah, I mean the Conseco, that one I actually sent to a buddy of mine because he knows Jose very well, and I met him and we got to talking, and I trusted sending the card in. But it is funny because I did send in a TTM to Jose because I heard he was signing, and I'm like, let me just give it a try, and he did. So again, on a personal note, that was really awesome to finally get his through the mail. But I mean, I've been fortunate over the years to get a lot of fun ones. I think the biggest one now going back is Kirby Puckett. I got Kirby Puckett, which was very cool. And I got that again when I was younger. So I didn't send in a good card. It was decent card, but it's on my page at the beginning when I first started. But that was probably one of the cooler ones and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't send TTMs out much, but the best one I ever got was Tyler Stevenson. I got it like
That's
2
awesome.
years ago.
That's a great looking card.
And now he's killing it up in the mid leagues and is in the talks for Rookie of the Year. Even though we're
That's
probably going to
awesome.
Jonathan India.
I did. I got 2 of his too because I saw he was signing. Because when I was doing the TTMs, I would follow that, and I saw he was signing, so I looked for for some, and I did. I sent 2 of them in, and I got them back, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, having that, like, it's cool to get a card that's signed in a facility somewhere, but it's even cooler to know that they signed it there or that they signed it in person. So that's a much better experience.
I have one now. I mean, I don't want to get off topic. I have one now that I'm getting work on, and I wish I knew I had the card. It's the 92 or 93 upper deck. It's on my page. It's the Latin Stars with Palmero, Juan Gonzalez, Van Rodriguez, and Canseco. I found it recently, so I sent it into another signing for Canseco, and I just sent it to the National because I didn't want to wait online to see Pudge. So it's signed by those two, and now I see Palmero signing beginning of September, so I'm going to send it in for that one. And I think I'm going to have to send it to Juan Gonzalez's house because I know he does sign, but I'm going to have to get everything made, like signed, sealed, and delivered for that one. I don't want to risk it at that point.
Yeah.
But that one will be fun to get.
Mhm.
I can't imagine.
So that's it on all the questions. Thank you so much for coming on. It really does mean a lot to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to jump on with you.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
cool hearing your story. Thanks again for
It
coming
really
on.
was.
Thank you guys.
Have a good rest
Thank
of
you
your
so
day.
much.
Thank you guys. You too. Enjoy.